What's up everybody, thank you for checking this video and welcome back to the PHP for Beginners series. In the previous video, we reorganized our PHP files in order to use a shared variables.php file, and we saw some basic differences between the require and include methods. In today's video, we're going to see how to create a very simple router in order to add a simple navigation between multiple pages on the same server. First, let's create a menu markup in HTML with hard-coded href pointing to specific PHP files. If we click on those links, you will notice that your page doesn't change. That's because we don't have any router handling those URLs, and our index.php file acts as a sort of catch-all for any PHP links. More info on this later in the video. Let's create those PHP files and fill them up with some simple boilerplate data just to make sure those pages are correctly loaded. Now, if we click on those menu links, you will notice that the pages are properly loaded and the content changes. Our URLs now look a bit ugly though, as we don't really want to show the PHP extension for all our links, and we should try to generate a humanly readable slug for all our pages, so let's do it. First, let's create a shared menu.php file so we can require it on all of the pages we need. Perfect. Now let's remove the .php extension from those links. If I click on them, you will notice that once again the page doesn't change and we remain stuck on the index.php. As I said before, this is due to my local server configuration. I'm currently running Valet, which simulates a domain name and redirects traffic through a local DNS mask. Therefore, even if I don't have the pages I'm requiring via those links, my server configuration will try to fall back to the available index in order to avoid a 404. It's finally time to create our router. Heads up, we're gonna change some file names and move things around, and it might look a bit confusing, but I'm following some redundant steps to guide you through the process and don't skip any important info. We will clean things up later on and things will make more sense at the end. Let's rename our index.php file to home.php because that's gonna be our home page. Now we can create a new index.php file whose only purpose is to handle incoming traffic and programmatically require the pages we need. In order to learn how to create a router, we need to understand the global server variable of PHP. Let's use var_dump to print the full data array of the $_server variable and wrap it around two pre tags to visually format it and make it more readable. The $_server is a predefined variable containing execution environment information. It's an array that is always available on your PHP server, which carries the full array of info of your server. Think of it as your server's identity card. We will have plenty of occasions in the future to see and use a lot of its information, but for today, we're gonna focus on the request URI data. This is the URI which was given in order to access this page. We can access this data in our server array by using the square brackets and the name of that variable as a string. This is a very standard way of accessing array data in PHP. If you never use an array in PHP, here's a super quick overview. An array is a repeated list of keys and values. And if you want to access the value, you can do so by referencing the key inside square brackets. Pretty simple. Now that we have our request URI, let's make sure it works properly by including our menu and clicking around. The printed string should reflect the URI we're requesting every time we switch pages. Let's finally create our very simple router. Let's store the request URI inside a variable as we will need to use it later. and then create a very simple switch condition to handle all scenarios. The switch condition is basically a series of if and else if statements with a different syntax. Let's report the various cases starting from the index. So if we receive a // or an empty URI, it means we need to require the home page. You can write multiple cases one after another if the output is identical. Let's do the same for the about and contact page. If we give it a try, everything should work as expected. Nice. If we try to manually write a URI that we currently don't have, of course our server will return a blank page or some error depending on your level of reporting. To quickly avoid that and create a catch-all scenario, we can use the default condition of the switch case in order to run that portion of code if none of the above cases was matched. Let's leverage a built-in PHP method called HTTP response code and put the 404 code in it. This will communicate to your browser that this page doesn't exist with proper code and server response. We can also quickly create a 404 page with a simple message. There you go. We created our first very simple router. Well, that's pretty much it for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up or subscribe to the channel. Be sure to ring the bell to not miss any upcoming tutorials on this series. Thank you so much for watching, and happy coding!